Hey everyone, I'm David Goldberg with Sarah McGoldrick, and welcome to another episode of Media Gold, a podcast by the Clover Group. And before we get into today's topic, some sad news this week in the entertainment world. I just want to touch on quickly Dustin Diamond, the guy who played
Sweet.
Samuel Screech Powers
Yep.
on Saved by the Bell, dead at 44 after a brief battle with lung cancer, apparently.
Yeah, that's really, really sad. It's sad now that like we were talking about before we went on the air, that we're at that age now where some of our, teen idols are starting to pass away, even if they are really, really young. So that was so sad to hear today. He was cool. He was different. He was one of those guys who he was only on, you know, Saved by the Bell for a few years, but he was able to parlay that into a very unique career after the fact. I know he did some interesting videos later on, but he was just always loved.
Yeah, and you have to remember he was a child star, and
Mhm.
what happened later in his adult life after Saved by the Bell was like a byproduct of that. And I
Yeah,
remember he came out with this book, and it was called Behind the Bell, and it was all these allegations of crazy, weird sexual things that were going on with the cast at the time. Stuff we don't need to repeat here. But it showed you if they were true, like there probably was some weird stuff going on because it's show
yeah,
business.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, you hear that from a lot of stars. I mean, uh, Jodie Sweetin, who was not Michelle Tanner,
Stephanie.
Stephanie Tanner. It never, never said anything about bad sexual things happening, but being a child star was
Hmm.
partially what got her into drugs and alcohol. Like it's a tough life when you're young and in front of the cameras and have all these adult situations around you.
Hmm. But I remember, Saved by the Bell. It was like my first because I watched like every day before I went to school, and I remember my dad like would watch it with me, and he'd be like, like high school isn't really like that, right? It's not like the same three kids like doing all the activities and there's nerds and stuff. And I was like, oh okay. And then I got to high school. It actually kind of was like that for
Oh,
me. So
high school was like Degrassi, OG Degrassi, not the Drake Degrassi, but
right.
the original Degrassi Junior High, Degrassi High. That was my childhood. We weren't cool. We're still not cool.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
So today, episode 21 of the Media Goal podcast, and today we're going to talk about professional associations. There's a lot of groups out there that can promise to help you grow your network, grow your career, develop you as an individual, help you get the new skills and tools to improve your business and get your personal brand out there. But there's so many to choose from, and all these people trying to get your money. So how do you know which ones are useful or if they're useful at all? So we're going to kind of run down, about 5 different points here, kind of like a vetting process to see if it's something that is right for you. So let's start with number one. Does it fit your niche, Sarah?
Right. Like you said, there are so many different groups out there promising to connect you with people in your industry or, offer you the credits that you need to advance your career, but, at a price. So it's important that if you are going to join an association, and I'm not saying that there's a reason not to or a reason to join. It's totally up to you if you think you see the value. But if you're going to, make sure you pick one that suits what you're working in, what you're interested in, so that you're not paying money to join a group that isn't even relevant to you. So if you're an entrepreneur, try and find some entrepreneur associations. If you're a marketer, find some marketing associations. Be very clear in the direction you want to go in when it comes to associations, because you want to be sure that if you join, you're going to be able to take advantage of all that they promise to offer.
Exactly. And, you're talking about like you don't want to waste your time or money, more importantly. So, number
Mhm.
two, you want to look at the costs that are associated. Are you being charged a yearly, monthly, weekly, daily fee? And, what is your money going to? Once they're taking all these fees, how are they giving that back to the community that you're now a part of? Is this going into heavily subsidize future workshops, networking events, education courses, or is it just being pocketed by the people who are organizing it? These are like important questions to ask. And
Exactly. You don't want an organization that's just taking your money to pay its staff
mhm.
unless you feel you're actually getting some benefit out of the group. And you also don't want an organization where if you pay the fee and then they have a conference, are you paying more fees on top of that, on top of that, on top of that? So, make sure that they lay out where your money is going so you can decide if you're getting your return on investment.
Yeah, and for looking for the best bang for your buck, you can look into, is there different levels of a membership? Maybe there's like a premium deluxe that you don't really need, and you just want to get like the basic benefits, and that could lead to some big savings. The basic stuff could just be like basic networking, access to certain people, whereas the deluxe is you get all these extra materials and things, but maybe you don't need the T-shirt and the hat and everything else. You just want the basic bones. So something to look into. Make sure you get the good value.
Well, and keep in mind too that if you're joining this association, think about where it's located as well when it comes to costs. If you're joining something and you live on the East Coast, but everything's happening on the West Coast, and it's going to mean a lot of travel when and if we get to travel again, maybe it's smarter to just pick a group that's closer to you so that you're not paying extras to enjoy membership benefits.
Yeah, and like they need you more at the end of the day, they need you more than you need them to keep their thing going. So don't be afraid to like interview them, grill them, ask lots of
Hmm.
questions.
Yep. Uh,
Which leads us to who is running this thing, right?
Exactly. Anybody these days can start an association. So you want to be sure that the person or people who are running it actually know what they're doing, that they belong to the industry itself, that they have the experience and the knowledge, that they're not just on a board because it pays or on a board just for their own clout, that they actually care about making sure that you are getting the benefits from being a member. Um, and like take the time, everybody's on LinkedIn these days, so take the time to go on the website, see who's managing the organization, and then cross reference that with their LinkedIn profiles, or Google them and see if any articles about them pop up, or just see the level of
Like engagement.
knowledge, exactly, engagement with the industry. Is this something that they've been doing for a long time? It'll really just help you understand whether the people you're handing your money to are going to use it smartly and wisely and invest it hopefully back into you.
Yeah, and you can find some clues pretty easily. You can like go through their social media, see like if they haven't posted an update for like since 2019, that's probably a red flag. You want something that has lots of commitment to providing the latest updates for your industry, lots of transparency into how they're spending the money, if they're trying to do like PR and stuff for their members, getting them profiled in trade publications for the industry, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, and see who they're partnered with as well, because most networking associations will have partners within the industry, and usually high profile ones, because they will be usually sponsors of events or conferences that these groups put on. So if you see that a lot of, industry bigwigs or industry, like the top tier corporations and that sort of thing are partnering with this association, then it might be worth your time investing. But at the same time, see what that partnership really means. Does it just mean that it gives them, carte blanche to, promote their business, so that it's heavily focused on, learning about them as opposed to learning what you actually need to know? Or is it, they're invested in this association because, they believe in what they're doing and want to ensure that the members are getting something out of it as well?
Totally. Which kind of brings us to number four and the value of everything. Kind of touched on earlier, but really ask and write it out. Like, what are you going to be getting from giving these people your yearly or monthly fee? Are they going to give you the latest like roundup in industry news, the latest, like research papers about what people are talking about in your industry? Are you going to get, is there education included? Credits that you can like add to your LinkedIn, add to your resume, say I'm now certified in such and such.
Yeah, like there's so many associations out there that kind of take your money and run, really. So you want to be sure that, again, like I said, the return on investment is there. So are you getting that opportunity to really network and grow, and invest in yourself, to hopefully improve your own business, or are they just okay, yeah, you're part of our membership now, here you can here's your membership badge, essentially, here you can say you belong to us, but you're really getting nothing out of it, and if you're not, then it's time to look somewhere else.
Yeah, just do that digging. Like I'm in one of my other jobs, like I actually belong to a union, and everybody chips in 2% of their paychecks, and a lot of people will be there for years, and they'll start belly aching, and they'll say like, "Oh, like I'm not getting anything. Why are they taking my
Mhm.
money? Can I opt out?" And then you're just like, "Well, have you ever like looked into what is actually available to you, because you can actually go to all these like courses and training for free for like weeks at a time, and your salary's covered,
Mm.
and you're getting like this world class education and these labor relations issues. So it is really like your responsibility to make it the most out of it.
Well, that's true. Like a lot of associations as well, aside from education and resources, do you have access, like, just like a union would, an association would have access to insurance, like investment opportunities, a lot of ways that you can, protect yourself and your business.
Yeah, legal
So
counsel.
Exactly. So, like it could be worth it from a financial perspective, just those benefits alone that, if you went at it alone, uh, might cost you a fortune. A lot of associations may get you discounts at, the places you buy your, office supplies,
Your
or, your
computer.
exactly. I know at one time, I don't think they do anymore. Teachers used to get a discount at Apple, through being members of unions and that sort of thing. So,
Mhm.
aside from just the membership itself, take the time to read the brochure and see what other extras you can get out of it.
And so, kind of, this leads us to our last point for this episode, which is like, okay, you've done all the research, you've asked all the questions, you've looked into everything, and it just doesn't seem for you, or maybe you just don't have the budget for it right now. That's fine, because as we've talked about many other episodes, there's so many opportunities online for like a much lesser cost, or even in a lot of cases free,
Mhm.
for ways for you to network with people. We're talking about LinkedIn groups, um, Facebook groups, other for social media. There's like people who all work together and post jobs within their industry and give each other tips and ask each other for feedback and bounce off ideas and post their work and say like, hey guys, what do you think of like my latest ad campaign I just created? So and that stuff's all free.
Mm. Oh, we've definitely learned this week, after the whole Reddit situation, that there are lots of online and cloud opportunities to network and learn and, share information without having to pay for it. I mean, it's a new reality out there that, this next generation of business minded people are not going to pay for something if they're not getting real value out of it. And if they find they aren't, then they'll just start something on their own. So if you yourself are running one of these associations or organizations, you need to check yourself and see if you're providing your members with quality content and information and resources, or, like, are you losing members because you're not giving them that anymore, and, they're out there looking for something else. So, you know they're looking for alternatives too, so you need to be looking at alternative ways to attract new members and hold on to them.
But don't go looking for alternative podcasts about digital marketing, because
Absolutely not.
this is the only one you need. And we want to be as relevant as possible. We don't want to lose people. So if we're not talking about something that you want to hear about, let us know. Send us your questions, digital marketing questions, always to www.goldclovergroup.com, or find us on social media, all the channels at Gold Clover Group.
And don't forget to catch us every Wednesday wherever you listen to your podcasts.